Welcome to the UPHCA Pipeline Podcast, where issues and concerns, legislative news, and anything and everything about the plumbing and HVAC industry will be discussed. Guests will provide insight into who they are and what their role is in the industry. And we're excited to offer this service to our members and trade and industry. I want to introduce you to Rob Snow and Lawrence Snow. They are the purveyors, the owners of Valley Plumbing and Towers Plumbing, and we appreciate very much them being a part of this podcast. All right, who wants to start? Lawrence, you started this Valley Plumbing how long ago?
It's been about 12 years ago. Robbie and I both started at that time.
Okay, and what made you decide to start? Because you had a business in Las Vegas, so yes. Why did you want to move up to the Salt Lake market?
You know, I was just traveling for a living, and it was time to move out of Las Vegas, and we could kind of live where we wanted to live, and I just needed to be by a major airport. I had family up here, and we came up here and fell in love with it and bought a home, and that's where we stayed.
So, Robbie, I guess you got your experience being your dad's right hand. When did you start helping him in the plumbing field?
Well, I remember when I was in elementary, he'd come pick us up from elementary. This is back before, child abuse and all that kind of stuff. He'd come pick us up in the backhoe. And, instead of like normal people putting us inside the cab, he'd throw us in the front bucket and drive us down the street to help plumb our new house. And then usually, while growing up, every time, we'd make my mom mad or something, she'd send us to work with him. So we'd occasionally work a weekend here, a day here during spring break or Christmas break or whatever for that. And then occasionally work the nights to go out and pump grease traps and things like that. So, it started as an early age. Obviously, I swore I'd never plumb for real. And then went to college and ended up getting a part-time job while I was at college in St. George doing new construction. And then kind of got into it there. And then once I moved up to Salt Lake, ended up working for Schoonover Plumbing for a little while. And then that's when I realized that I actually liked service a lot more than the new construction. And so we started doing that until it came to the point that, we wanted to start our own thing. And at that time, like he said, he was traveling, doing coaching, things like that. So we decided let's do this. And so he kept coaching for a little bit while I was doing the plumbing, and then he'd come home, and usually Fridays or the weekends, he'd throw on a uniform. Usually didn't even make it home in time. Usually had his uniform in the truck with me and get him from the airport, and then we'd go do some of the larger jobs. And ended up doing that.
So
I knew the one. Yeah, I knew that when we started the business, I was in the consulting business, consulting HVAC, electrical, and plumbing contractors. That if this little enterprise that Robbie and I started didn't work, so there goes my coaching career as well. But it actually worked out very well.
Very good. Now this is a family business. So you got some other family members. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I have my older brother. He is a CPA. A few years ago, about maybe 5 years ago, he ended up coming over, working and doing the accounting. And then I have a brother-in-law. He's married to my sister. He's also a plumber, but before he came work with us, he'd spend a lot of time in supply houses, things like that. So he ended up coming over, and he's running the materials supply house here for us, trucks, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, very good.
We got some other family kind of come and go here and there. I've had my wife's brother, it was a plumber for us for a little while, and had some nephews or just random family here and there has come through and done a little work for us. But yeah, it's definitely family business.
So your business is strictly service, correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
And what area do you cover?
We pretty much cover, I mean, I'd say Ogden south to Utah County, Salt Lake County, Davis County, pretty much. We do some work in Park City and Tooele as well, but that's not our prime targets.
Now you do service, but you also do some, I don't know how to distinguish the difference, excavation and replacement of residential water lines and sewer, correct?
That's correct. We do both commercial and residential in that division, and we typically run three crews of 3 guys. And if you got a water leak outside or sewer leak or sewer problems, then we get it taken care of.
Yeah, if you've got it already there, a house there, if something breaks, we're there to fix it. Like whether it's underground out front, you need underground remodeled in the house, things like that. So that's where the excavation comes in, is replacing underground utilities, those kind of things. We're not going to go to a new housing tract and put in a new system, but if it's already there and they need it fixed, that's us.
Okay, now a few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, you acquired Towers Plumbing. Tell us why you wanted to go out and acquire another company, and what was the strategy there?
It was a weak moment.
Okay.
We were actually approached by them and to see if we'd be interested. They were getting ready to retire, Jim and Jerry, and we looked at them pretty seriously, and then they cooled off a little bit and said, "Well, it's just not what we want to do right now," and so we just sat on it for a while. And we were actually purchasing a company in Tyler, Texas that I used to consult with. We're there at the attorney's office signing papers, and Jim gave me a call and said, "We're ready to close." So,
okay.
So we closed it within 3 weeks of each other.
Okay.
So that was
you've kept their brand and so forth. Is there a purpose? Tell us why you kept their brand and their trucks and that type of thing.
We kept their name. We rebranded the company. Nothing wrong with the old brand. It was just sometimes it's time to refresh the brand.
Right.
It was 75 years old when we purchased the company, and we've had it a little over 6 years now. So it's 80 plus years old. Rebranded, freshened to look up. Some of the trucks we have are labeled Valley, and some of them are labeled Towers.
And you don't distinct.
No, they're all ran exactly the same. So if you called Valley, you may get a Valley truck, you may get a Towers truck. If you call Towers, the same thing. And even some of the guys, they may drive a Valley truck, and if it needs to get repaired, they may jump into a Towers truck. But they're all ran exactly the same as one. No difference, no distinction between the two.
So what do you think are the couple of challenges that you face right now as the economy is, changing, maybe morphing into something else with inflationary issues and so forth? What is kind of your strategy in dealing with the current climate?
As everybody knows, the climate's just interesting, and you can't predict it. Unfortunately, I wish I could. But employment's one of the bigger items. We are doing our best to train our own, and we have a very aggressive training program. Of course, we require them to be in school. We pay for their schooling. We have 2 training classes a week for them for the trainees, because in the schooling they don't learn anything in service repair. So we take them through the service repair portion of it. The School of Hard Knocks is a great teacher. Most of these guys, in fact, these guys are riding in trucks with other journeyman plumbers to learn their trade. And so we're between book work at the school, the things they get here twice a week, and the on-the-job training, it makes them a much better plumber.
Yeah, when you look at how things have changed, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, we had about one apprentice for every 4 plumbers. And that apprentice was for the rare occasion that the plumber had to do a lot of manual labor. But now it's almost 1-to-1. One apprentice for every 1 plumber, because that's the only way that we're able to make the next generation of plumbers, is by making sure that we have every seat, that can be filled. Knowing that obviously not every apprentice is going to make it to plumber, but by stacking the deck, we're hoping that we get more than what it was before. And the other thing that we deal with a lot is materials that are just all over the place. Yesterday what was $2 is now $8 today, and then tomorrow it's $6, and then a week from now it's $12. And then now all of a sudden it's back ordered, and now we have to order a different brand. Okay. And that's all within a week, kind of thing. Where before, we looked at things like that maybe every 3 to 6 months. Now it's almost a full-time job to try to keep up with material costs, and not just material costs, but whether we can even get the material. I mean, yes, it's getting a little bit better, but it's still not to the point where we can get what we need when we need it.
So what do you see down the road? You mentioned the employment, trying to find enough trades. Why do you think we're having such a struggle in getting more people into the trades?
I think as I travel throughout the country, the biggest thing is the schools are advertising you have to get a degree, you have to do this.
It's the STEM program, the science, technology, engineering, and math. There is no trade in there.
And they didn't realize, or these counselors still don't get it through their skulls sometimes, that you make an extremely good living being a plumber, HVAC, electrician, those kind of things. It's not the blue collar, white collar mentality. There's good money there, and you have to just apply yourself. If you're good with your hands, one of the questions I ask if I interview a technician is, if you had to change a light bulb in your car, could you do it? Or do you change your own oil in your car? Could you do it? And if the answer is yes, that means they're technically inclined. So they're probably going to be a decent technician.
Oh, very
yes.
good.
Our biggest challenge is trying to get in front of those schools, trying to get in touch with these kids before they graduate or before they commit somewhere else where they're not going to do well. We try to get into even the job fairs, at high schools, junior highs, things like that, to try to get in front of these guys. Yes, we can't hire them, when they're in junior high or high school, but we hope that we're giving them an option other than going to college if that's not what they want to do. I went to college myself, and I hated every bit of it. And I suffered for a good 4 or 5 very long years. And but everything that I need to know, I learned in plumbing school while working on the job, getting paid instead of sitting there spending, his money at college.
So let's switch gears a little bit. Want to know who Lawrence is and who Robbie is, meaning what do you like to do? I know that running a business, you're constantly involved and thinking and having issues and so forth, but when you get away, what do you like to do, Lawrence?
I love to travel, love to see things, and I'm typically not an overseas traveler. I love seeing what we have close to us. And it's great to see it. So that's what I like is more of the travel and seeing the sights.
Okay, Robbie.
Well, so I have a wife and 4 daughters. So travel would be nice, but that's just not feasible most of the time. We travel to and from the school and church and grocery store like once a week. But honestly, I think I'm still at the point where I truly love to come to work. It's kind of my life. And if I'm not here at the office, I might as well be. I'm always kind of connected to what's going on here, and I want to help. I want to help these guys because I know we're a 24-hour business, and so we've always got somebody working. Now, in a perfect world, and maybe I could pawn the children off on certain grandparents. Maybe I love working with wood. I would love to see, he likes to stay here in the country. I would love to go out of country and see some of the historical stuff. Someday, I'm sure we'll do that. But right now, I do love doing the plumbing. And even when I'm home, if there's somebody in the neighborhood that needs something, I'm going to go do it. I'm not supposed to have my whole entire truck full of tools and parts and stuff like that, but it is. Because, that's what I love to do.
Okay. What do you see, where do you want to be in 5 years, each of you? Personally, business-wise, 5 years from now is 2028. Okay, I can count. What do you want to be doing, or what do you think where you'll be?
We'll have put a lot of miles on my rocking chair by then. I'm getting ready to retire, and we're in the process of selling our Texas operation, which is the same size as ours roughly. And these guys are to the point where they're ready to take over 100% Valley Plumbing. I typically I don't get involved with the day-to-day business here. I work on special projects, which right now we're having a fully managed inventory software that we've implemented as of March 1st, so that's a lot of fun. It's like having a root canal every morning, but it's just that I'm ready to retire. It's been a great career, and I don't intend to stop it. I still work with a lot of people nationwide that call me, the people I used to coach, and thoroughly enjoy it. And I just love if they need a hand when I'm 68, 69 years old, I'd like to hop in the motorhome and head out and visit them. It'd be a lot of fun. Enjoy it.
We've offered to the UPHCA membership to utilize your skills and experience in a business coach type of arrangement. And so I just going to put a little plug there that if you're a company owner and you want some insights, another set of eyes always helps to see things in a different perspective. So Lawrence has been willing to do that. Okay, Robbie, now it's your turn. Where are you going to be 5 years from now, other than the fact you might have a few gray hairs?
Yeah, I think 5 years from now, well, personal life, I don't think anything's going to change. I'll still have 4 daughters, and I think they'll all still be living at home, I'm sure. But I think here, I don't think that he'll ever officially leave the business. Maybe he won't have any ownership there, but I think that there's always going to be that coaching because, when there's big decisions to be made, the best thing you can ever do is kind of involve the peers around you that whether it's a second opinion or maybe somebody that's been through something or that knows, that's kind of why I enjoy the UPHCA, why I enjoy the national one, which is the QSC, is it's a bunch of people just like us and involving them. But I see that kind of going on with him, even after he's officially retired. But I see right here. I see being right here, continuing to, organically grow here in northern Utah. I don't plan on going anywhere. Don't plan on selling. enjoying what we're doing. It's a fun thing, and so I see still being right here, wishing I was traveling and wishing the 4 kids were gone, but we'll get there eventually. Maybe 15, 20 years from now, I'll get to that point. But see it right here.
Full disclosure, Lawrence has served on the board of directors of the UPHCA a few years ago, and Rob, I should say, is now on the board of directors and has been for about 5 years, something close to that, maybe 4 years. Anyway, and he also, Valley Plumbing was also one of the founding members of the UPHCA Academy, and as we get that started up and so forth. So from your perspective, gentlemen, you both have seen the value of networking with people nationally as well as locally. What type of insights do you have being part of the UPHCA?
Dave, from a contracting point of view as well as a coaching point of view, I think the biggest thing is rubbing shoulders with the best of the best. Some people have a hard time rubbing shoulders with your local people, but that's sometimes we all have the same exact problem. We all have the exact same people working for us. If you're not working for me today, they're going to be working for you tomorrow mentality. But what we see on a national basis is we rub shoulders with companies who are our same size, which are larger companies, and we learn a lot. We had a peer group here about a month ago. We had, I think it was 8 contractors from across the nation came over. We spent 2 days in a think tank here, and we do it twice a year. Boy, what a powerhouse to see. I mean, one of these guys will see a leading edge of something, and they'll share it with us. And I mean, even as something as simple as a credit card, a type of credit card where you get better purchasing power, unlimited purchasing power. Now, every one of us have that same credit card, and we all get the kickbacks from the credit card. I don't know if I should say that or not. But we get the kickbacks from the credit cards, and I mean, just minor things like that just make a significant difference. So, on a local basis, rub shoulders with the best of the best, and do it on a national basis as well. That's the key.
Yeah.
Rob, do you have anything to add?
Well, for me, it's why reinvent the wheel if it's already been done? Why spend that extra time? As we're sitting there and we're coming up with new ideas, within our company, and okay, hey, we want to try to do this one certain thing. That one certain thing, if we don't have people, peers to work with, talk with, things like that, that one thing could be that could cost a lot of money if it doesn't go right. So instead of spending that risk, or put it out there to the people you work with either in the state organization or the national organization. Put it out there, say, hey, this is what I'm looking at doing. I promise you there's nothing that we're coming up with now that hasn't been done before. And you can get within hours 20, 30 different ways of how people have done it, how they have failed doing it, or how they've succeeded. And I mean, how wonderful is that I don't have to spend days and days and days and months trying to figure this out when it's already figured out for me. And then the other side of it too is, like you were saying, we all have the same problems. We think that sometimes that you get stuck in your head that, hey, that's just my problem. It's just I'm dealing with this. But alone, we don't have, let's say, the buying power to really make that big of a difference. When we're up against the government or the state government or legislature, whatever, we don't have that power by ourselves. But when you combine an organization like the UPHCA or even the national organization like the QSC or PHCC, now we together have actually the power to make a difference when it comes to legislature trying to make rules or laws that they never think it through, and they don't understand how it's going to affect us. But this is able to give us that power to be able to get lobbyists, to be able to work with them, to say, look, if you got to do it, okay, let's make it work where it works for all of us, and this is how we can do it. And I've seen huge changes because of that ability to work together and pool our resources. It's made huge changes, and for the good. And if it wasn't for that, who knows? I mean, how many times have they tried to get rid of our licensing? And if it wasn't for the pooled resources to fight that, this may be a whole different world without licenses here for the trades.
Dave, one other thing about peer groups and rubbing shoulders. I mean, Robbie has only had me to look up to or look down to, depending how you want to look at it. And kids don't listen to their dads very often. They don't want to listen to their dads. But that's what the peer group we're in is a huge success. And they always mention that how far Robbie has come from here to here in the last 5 years or 6 years we've been doing this peer group thing. And he's matured because what he's learning from them. He comes to me after he's talked to a few of those in our peer group and said, hey, what about this? This is what so-and-so is doing. This is what so-and-so is doing. What do you think if we do it this way? So he's not asking Dad as much anymore, which is good.
Very good. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts and ideas and with us today. And thank you for those who are listening to or viewing the UPHCA Pipeline podcast. We appreciate your feedback and suggestions of people who would like to hear on future podcasts. Let us know. Just in final, I just wanted to share, as we do each time, just a little thought. This is from Jesse Owens. The battles that count aren't the ones for gold medals. The struggles within yourself, the invisible, the inevitable battles inside all of us, that's where it's at. So thank you very much, and we'll be talking to you again. Thanks.
See you. Thank you, Dave.
See you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.